Welcome to Quote Core, where we delve into the minds of the greatest thinkers and explore the depths of their wisdom. Today, we're taking a closer look at the provocative and insightful quotes of Arthur Schopenhauer, a philosopher who dared to challenge conventional thinking and offer his own unique perspective on life, love, and women. Schopenhauer's quotes are not always easy to digest, but they are sure to stimulate your mind and make you question your own assumptions. Quote 1. Life is a pendulum swinging between pain and boredom. Schopenhauer believed that life is a cycle of highs and lows, with periods of pleasure inevitably followed by periods of suffering. He saw this as a fundamental aspect of the human condition, and he argued that it is impossible to escape this cycle. Quote 2. Every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. Schopenhauer believed that we are all limited by our own perspectives. We tend to see the world as it is filtered through our own experiences and biases, and we often fail to see things from other people's points of view. Quote 3. The greatest events of our lives are not the most visible ones. Schopenhauer believed that the most important events in our lives are often the ones that happen internally. These are the moments of personal growth and transformation that shape who we are. Quote 4. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. Schopenhauer believed that talent is the ability to do something that others cannot, while genius is the ability to see something that others cannot. Quote 5. The worst punishment is not to be revenged. Schopenhauer believed that revenge is a form of self-destruct. When we seek revenge, we are allowing the person who wronged us to continue to have power over us. Quote 6. Love is a game of chance, and the best players are those who can cheat the most successfully. Schopenhauer believed that love is often based on illusion and deception. We are drawn to people who project an image of themselves that we find appealing, but this image is often not the whole truth. Quote 7. Women are like cats in the way. They are always falling on their feet. Schopenhauer believed that women are resilient and resourceful. They are able to adapt to difficult situations and survive even when the odds are against them. Quote 8. The only way to get rid of a temptation is to yield to it. Schopenhauer believed that trying to resist temptation only makes it stronger. The only way to truly overcome a temptation is to give in to it and experience its consequences. Quote 9. The most unhappy people are those who have nothing to complain about. Schopenhauer believed that complaining is a way of coping with suffering. When we have nothing to complain about, we are forced to confront our own unhappiness. Quote 10. The only thing that stands between you and your goal is the story you keep telling yourself about why you can't achieve it. Schopenhauer believed that our own self-doubt is often the biggest obstacle to achieving our goals. If we want to achieve something, We need to stop telling ourselves why we can't do it and start telling ourselves why we can. Quote 11. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. Schopenhauer believed that we are free to act according to our will, but we are not free to choose our will. Our will is determined by our desires and our character, which are shaped by our experiences and our genes. Quote 12. The will is a blind giant who carries on his shoulders a seeing dwarf. Schopenhauer believed that the will is a powerful force that drives us to act, but it is not guided by reason. The will is like a blind giant who is carried on the shoulders of a seeing dwarf. The dwarf represents our intellect, which provides the will with information about the world. However, the will is ultimately in control, and it can choose to ignore the advice of the intellect. Quote 13. The world is my idea. Schopenhauer believed that the world is not an objective reality that exists independently of our minds. Rather, the world is our idea or our representation of reality. This means that the world is not fixed and unchanging, but is instead constantly being created and recreated by our minds. Quote 14. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Schopenhauer believed that beauty is not an objective quality that exists in objects, but is instead a subjective experience that is created by the beholder. This means that there is no such thing as a universally beautiful object, and that what one person finds beautiful, another person may find ugly. Quote 15. Genius is the power to see the essential. Schopenhauer believed that genius is the ability to see the essential nature of things. Geniuses are able to see beyond the superficial and to understand the underlying principles that govern the world. Quote 16. Truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose, it will defend itself. Schopenhauer believed that truth is self-evident and does not need to be defended. If something is true, it will eventually be accepted, regardless of how much opposition it faces. Quote 17. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Schopenhauer believed that the world is a place of suffering and injustice. However, he also believed that it is possible to find freedom within this unfree world. The key to finding freedom is to become so independent of the world that you are no longer affected by its suffering and injustice. Quote 18. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge. Schopenhauer believed that the greatest obstacle to learning is not a lack of knowledge, but the belief that we already know everything we need to know. When we believe that we know everything, we are closed off to new ideas and experiences. Quote 19. The most important thing in life is not to be afraid to be yourself. Schopenhauer believed that it is important to be true to ourselves, even if it means being different from others. When we are true to ourselves, we are able to live our lives with authenticity and integrity. Quote 20. The world is a comedy to those who think, a tragedy to those who feel. Schopenhauer believed that the world is a place of both suffering and joy. Those who are able to see the world from a rational perspective are able to find humor in its absurdity. However, those who are more sensitive to the suffering of others are likely to find the world to be a tragic place. Conclusion: Arthur Schopenhauer was a brilliant and provocative thinker whose quotes continue to challenge and inspire us today. His insights into the human condition are as relevant now as they were in his own time. If you're looking for quotes that will make you think, then Schopenhauer is a great place to start. His quotes are sure to stay with you long after you've read them. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. And what are some of your favorite Arthur Schopenhauer quotes? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.